There she is. Okay.
Yeah, I love when she does.
You saw his finger go up.
Not sure why I brought my coffee. All right. Good morning. Morning. It's good to see all of you here. I'm a member of the Board of Trustees. My name is Susan Hitchka, and my role this morning is to not read the announcements to you, but to call attention to some announcements that you might otherwise not, you might read over as you're sitting here. So there's an art exhibit that opened on yesterday, right? Friday. It opened Friday. I was thinking, no, I wasn't here yesterday. It was Friday. And it's an art exhibit about the authentic selves, which is a UU Common Read this year. In fact, there's a group of us reading that book now, and there will be another group in the spring. And it's a book that talks about non-binary and trans, and the transitions that people are making. It's an interesting exhibit, and I hope you'll take a chance to see it. It won't be here long. It closes on the 10th of November, so hopefully you'll see that. There's a church cleanup next Saturday, November 9th, from I think 9 to 12. Yeah, 9 to 12. You can read about that. We are having a community roundup. Now this has started, it's been traditionally, it's for the chairs of the various committees and interest groups to get together and hear from each other what's going on and look for places where they could share the time and make something even better. This week we're going to have a special part of that to talk about the budget for 2025. And we'll be doing some of that in groups later on in the next few weeks for the congregation. But you are welcome to come to that. It's a Zoom meeting, so you just, come in, and it wouldn't matter if there were 20 people there instead of 10. So that's happening, and there's some serious things we have to discuss and some decisions that need to be made. So, let's see. The tech volunteers are still needed. We're training up some folks who can help with the tasks at the back of the hall. Thanksgiving Day dinner, Jan Thompson has been hosting such a thing for many years now at our church. And if you don't have family in town or plans already, it's a really nice way to celebrate Thanksgiving. Elwyn Nunn is going to have a truffle sale on December 1st. Get excited because his truffles are amazing. And it makes great Christmas gifts. So check that out. Put that down on your calendar for December 1st. And finally, the Change for Change this quarter is Coats for Kids. So they're asking for your donations to help them provide warm clothing for kids in our community who otherwise might not have something warm enough to wear in the winter. Finally, I promised, do you mind standing up for a second? Melinda Leach sings with the Mesilla Valley Chorale. And they're going, mid-November, they're having a concert. And she will have tickets for that concert and would be happy to talk with you about it or sell you tickets after the service. Thanks, Melinda. I believe that's it. I think I've told you what I know. And I see that somebody's going to talk to you about Election Day because it's Tuesday. So I'll leave that for the next person. Glad to see you all.
Don't forget your coffee,
Yeah, I said I don't know why I brought it up.
just so I could remind you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good morning. It's wonderful to see you this morning. I'm Catherine Massey, Director of Music. Before I start, I would remind you to put your phone in worship mode, making sure mine is. It is my honor to introduce our distinguished musical guest this morning, Yolanda Martinez. She is a treasure in our community. She's actually been in this congregation before, a long time ago, probably before your memories, but some of us might remember. She was born in Carlsbad. She's been making music for decades. She is an artist who has won many awards, including the NAMI Awards. She's won 4 of them. NAMI is the Native American Grammy Awards. So she's quite well recognized around the world. Her music is available on her website. It's also available on Spotify and other mainstream places. She is a drum maker and a drum circle leader, and she will be leading a workshop on drum making, right, on the 16th, November 16th, here, I believe in the RE building. So you might want to check that out as well. And so it's my honor to welcome Yolanda Martinez.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. And it's actually a drumming circle I'm going to be hosting on the 16th. A workshop is a lot more work. So we're just going to have fun that day and drum and sing. And it's a really big pleasure and honor to be here and be invited to be here today. And the song that I'm starting with is honoring song for the elements that came to me. And I think we're going to put the words up there, and you're welcome to join. And let's bring in Native American Month. Yay!
Thank you, Lolanda. Good morning and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Las Cruces. My name is Charlie Scholz. I'm your service associate this morning. We welcome those of you who are in our sanctuary and those of you who are following us on streaming technology. Our service leader this morning is our minister, Reverend Rod Thompson, who will be with you in a moment. Our director of music you've already met, Catherine Massey. She's joined by the famous UUCLC choir, of which I'm occasionally a part. Our director of religious education is Kelly Ingram. Of course, our special music is provided by Yolanda Martinez this morning. You've just heard her. Assisting us are Elwin Nunn on camera and Mike Yazko, who's doing both the audio and the stream. The chalice table was prepared by Diane Lee and Jillian Lang, and our greeters today are Steve Hitchka, John Seeley, and Tom Packard. Hospitality is being offered today by the RE Program Committee and by the Hospitality Committee. We're all delighted to be with you. If you're visiting us today, we'd like to meet you. If you're in the sanctuary, please rise in body or spirit. Wait until I bring the microphone and then tell us who you are and where you're from. Do we have some visitors today? Yes, sir. Are we on? Yes. I hear it. Yes, we're on.
Hi, I'm David Hoyt. I'm here to sit on my sister's estate. She lived on Foster for 50 years, so been here since June, and love the town, love the city.
Glad to have you. Welcome. Someone else. See somebody there?
Good morning. I'm Chase, kin to Jennifer, and this is my family.
Hello.
This is Brianna, my partner.
Hello, my name is Brianna. I go by Bree, and we have our children, which I'm sure you guys know, Raylan, and Zaya and Willow over here with Grandma, and this is our first time being here. Happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else?
Charlie, if I can just add.
You want to add something? Okay. Go ahead.
I have to add that Chase grew up in this church. He was born into this church and was a part of it until his teen years, and after he graduated high school, he's taken a little hiatus.
Yes, I'm familiar with that. Okay. Anyone else? Good to see you all. Any visitors streaming, Mike? No. Okay. Let's see. If you're a shy visitor and curious about our church, please feel free to fill out a visitor's card, and we'll make sure that we can invite you to some of the other activities at our church. Let's see. Oh, yes, we should say Unitarian and Universalism has no creed or dogma. I'm always reminded when I say that about the bumper sticker that was very popular some 20 years ago. You may remember it. It's "My karma ran over your dogma." I always thought that was appropriate. We are a covenant-based church, meaning we agree to live in relationship with each other according to the Unitarian Universalist principles and our congregation's covenant of respectful relations. We embrace diversity in all its forms, and everyone is welcome. You can learn more about our church, of course, at our website, uuchurchlc.org. And please join us after the service for coffee and conversation inside or outside the Religious Education Building right down the breezeway. Would you join me in the chalice lighting? I would. Thank you. Our chalice lighting this morning comes from Leslie Pole Cosbo. Flame of fire, spark of the universe that warmed our ancestral hearth, agent of life and death, symbol of truth and freedom. With this light, we strive to understand ourselves and our earthly home.
Trade you. My opening words are adapted from a Tiwa prayer. O our Mother of Earth, O our Father of Sky, your children are we, and with tired backs. We bring you our gifts of love. Then weave for us a garment of brightness. May the warmth be the white light of morning. May the weft be the red light of evening. May the fringes be the falling rain. May the border be the standing rainbow. Thus, weave for us a garment of brightness, that we may walk fittingly where birds sing, that we may walk fittingly where the earth is green. O our Mother, the earth, O our Father, the sky. Welcome to this celebration of life and Native American heritage. I invite you now to stand and join in saying our covenant together and then singing the doxologies in English and in Spanish. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is our sacrament, and service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve others in community, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with creation. Thus do we covenant with one another.
Good morning, church. Good morning, Kelly. Happy November. Can you believe it? I don't. This morning, I will be reading the story, How the Stars Fell into the Sky, a Navajo legend. I personally am not Native American, and so I will do my best to honor the retelling of this story. Told to the Navajo people at the turn of the 20th century by Hosteen Claw, who was recognized as a great medicine man and a master weaver. Hosteen was born in New Mexico in 1867 and passed away in New Mexico in 1937, leaving behind a legacy of art and story. How the Stars Fell into the Sky by Jerry Attu. When the pulse of the first day carried into the first night, first woman said to first man, "The people need to know the laws. To help them, we must write the laws for all to see." "Write them in the sand," he told her. "But the wind will blow them away," she answered. "Write them in the water then," he said, and turned to go, having more important matters on his mind. "But they will disappear the moment I write them," she called out. First man turned back somewhat impatiently and looked at her squatting there, with a blanket of stars at her feet. "Why don't you write them in the sky then?" he said. "Take your jewels and write them in the sky." And so she began, slowly, first one and then the next, placing her jewels all across the dome of night, carefully designing her patterns so that all could read them. But First Woman was not alone. Behind a low tree crouched Coyote, watching her as she crafted her careful mosaic on the blackberry cloth of night. He crept closer. "What are you doing?" he called in a voice that sounded like the whine of an arrow whistling in the wind. "Why are you tacking up the night sky with your jewels?" "Oh," she answered, shifting a star, "I'm writing the laws so that all the people can read them. There will be no confusion if we can always see the laws." Her hands glowed from the warmth of the stars she was touching, and she smiled as she toiled. "May I help?" Coyote asked. First Woman nodded. "Begin here," she said, and handed him a star. Coyote hung the star and stepped back to look. He hung another and another. But for every star he hung, First Woman's blanket held 1,000 more. "This is slow work," he grumbled. "Writing the laws could take many moons," she said as she began humming to herself. "Can't we find a faster way to be done?" Coyote asked. "Why finish?" she answered. "What is there to do next that is half so important as writing the laws? The people will see the laws before entering their homes at night. The young mother will sing them to her child. The lonely warrior crouched alone in an unknown land will look up and warm himself by them. Writing the laws may be what I do each night for the rest of my life." But Coyote lacked First Woman's patience. He loved best to see a job finished. Impatiently, he gathered 2 corners of First Woman's blanket. And before she could stop him, he flung the remaining stars out into the night, spilling them into wild disarray, shattering First Woman's patterns. First Woman leaned far into the night and watched the tumbling stars. "What have you done, you foolish animal?" she shrieked at Coyote. He crept away while First Woman wept, because there was no undoing what Coyote had done. As the pulse of the second day brought it into being, the people rose and went about their lives, never knowing in what foolish haste Coyote had tumbled the stars, never knowing the reason for the confusion that would always dwell among them.
One of the ways we support each other in community is through the sharing of joys, sorrows, and milestones. And in these challenging times, it's crucial that we make attempts to stay connected with each other. So if you have a joy, a sorrow, or a milestone that you'd like to share with the congregation this morning, please raise your hand and I'll bring the mic to you. State your name and what is on your heart. I want to precede this with an announcement or a sorrow of my own. We had a break-in either Monday night or early Tuesday morning. And these people were looking for money, obviously. What they did was damage a number of doors on campus and break into some cabinets and things like that. We estimate the damage is going to be about, between $12,000 and $15,000 total. We have to replace the doors and, fix things. You may notice a wooden partition by the gallery. Bill Fitzgerald and I built that on Thursday because that door was almost broken. So, that was a real sorrow. We can recover from things like this, but we have to be prepared that, considering what's going on in the world, we may suffer more damage this year. Anyway, that's my sorrow. Rod also had one.
I'll use that mic,
Sure.
if that's okay.
Yep.
I decided to write this out so I didn't ramble. As you know, the election is Tuesday. And no, this is not a political ad, and I hope nobody else is going to do anything political this morning. Many of my colleagues have real concerns about their safety and the safety of their congregations before, during, or after the election. Violence is predicted. So I want you to encourage your friends and family across the country, especially in the swing states, to vote, if they haven't already, but to be very careful of their surroundings. Go with a friend if they can, and maybe vote tomorrow before Election Day. Urge them to be safe. Now you can go.
Thank you, Ron. Are there joys, sorrows, milestones? Yes, I see a hand over there.
Good morning. My name is Jack Welch. I have a joy. I've been in touch with our church patriarch, Clayton Flowers, who now is 108 years old. Clayton called me to ask if I would come over and pick up his checks for the church. Now, there's a lesson for all of us right there. He always contributes 2 checks, one for the church, and as he says, one for the children. So I did that. Also, I want to let you know that Clayton voted, absentee of course, but he has voted and that was important to him. Life is not easy when you're 108 years old, but he seems to be hanging in there. He has help in the house for 1 hour in the morning and 1 hour in the evening. Otherwise, he's there well, he's not there alone because people visit. He has family come from time to time, but for the most part, he's there alone. But it's an inspiration to be in touch with Clayton. But I will say, life is not easy when you're 108 years old.
Thank you, Jack. Someone else. Yes, ma'am.
This is not a joy personally, but I have a joy because our 100-year-old president, Jimmy Carter, voted.
Thank you. Someone else. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I have the pleasure of having my daughter visit this week. She moved away to California some 10 years ago, and she was always the joy of my life, and I appreciate having her with me today.
Tell her to come back. All right. Yes, Steve?
Good morning, church. I have a joy. My wife sent Halloween cards with some money to all of our grandchildren, plus an addition. We have an addition to the family this year. We have an American Field Service student from Italy living with my daughter. Would you know, none of the grandchildren thanked us, but the exchange student did.
Wonderful. I see a hand in the choir.
My hand was held higher, but there was another one.
Okay. Go ahead.
We have an empty seat up here, and I'm hoping Irene's online, but Irene's missing from our choir, and it's a big hole. Irene is back out of the hospital, and I don't even know exactly what it is, but she's not doing very well at the moment. And I also wanted to say to Lena, I'm thinking of her.
Thank you. Lucy?
Dia de los Muertos was wonderful this year, and I don't know if it's a joy or a sorrow, but on the plaza they had an art installation where you were invited to write a message to a particular person, and it gave me the opportunity to do that, and it was just liberating, really. It's wonderful.
Thank you. Anyone else? All righty. I'm going to light one more candle here for all the joys and sorrows and milestones that were expressed and those that you have kept in your heart.
Try it again. When it's new, it's harder.
Yeah. There we go. Very good. You're on.
Close it out or do I?
I did. I shut it down.
As we remember what has been shared with us this morning, I invite you into a period of quiet for reflection, repose, meditation, or prayer. And I would share these Ute words from Nancy Wood's book, Hollering Sun. Nancy Wood writes from her concern for and love of Native Americans. It is our quiet time. We do not speak because the voices are within us. It is our quiet time. We do not walk because the earth is all within us. It is our quiet time. We do not dance because the music has lifted us to a place where the Spirit is. It is our quiet time. We rest with all of nature. We wake when the seven sisters wake. We greet them in the sky over the opening of our kiva. It is our quiet time. With the sounds of our community all around us, let us enter into this quiet time. So be it, blessed be, and amen.
With respect for the African American spiritualist tradition, I'd like for us to sing together the song Shine on Me. We have sung this song as a congregation a number of times. We sang it on Zoom to get through COVID multiple times. We sang it during the last election cycle. It is a song that can be sung by anyone to bring in strength that you don't know you have. So I invite you to use this over the next month or so, maybe longer. And so with that in mind, I invite you to rise, embody your spirit, and as soon as you feel comfortable, join in. Shine on me, yes, shine on me. May the light from the lighthouse shine on me. Oh, shine on me. Oh, shine on me. May the light from the lighthouse shine on me. Lift me up, yes, lift me up. May the light from the lighthouse lift me up. Oh, lift me up, yes, lift me up. May the light from the lighthouse lift me up. Hold me close, yes, hold me close. May the light from the lighthouse hold me close. Oh, hold me close. Yes, hold me close. May the light from the lighthouse hold me close. Shine on me, yes, shine on me. May the light from the lighthouse shine on me. Oh, shine on me. Yes, shine on me. May the light from the lighthouse shine on me. Thank you.
Not that we don't know it, but still, maybe we need to be reminded. I offer this quick history from a little book called Native American Wisdom. In 1492, Columbus and his crew, lost, battered, and stricken with dysentery, were helped ashore by a people he described as neither black nor white, fairly tall, good-looking, and well-proportioned. Believing he had landed in the East Indies, he called these people Indians. In fact, they were part of a great population that had made its home on this continent for centuries. The inhabitants of this land were not one people. Their customs differed, their languages differed. Some tilled the earth, others hunted and picked the abundance of the land around them. They lived in different kinds of housing and governed themselves according to different rules. But they shared in common a belief that the earth is a spiritual presence that must be honored, not mastered. Unfortunately, my ancestors, the Western Europeans who came to these shores, had a contrary belief. To them, the entire American continent was a beautiful but savage land that it was not only their right, but their duty to tame and use as they saw fit. A lot of us all over are having to turn to that old belief that earth is a spiritual presence. So we finally turned to our Indian Native American neighbors for guidance.
I'm like one of those Japanese bowls that were made long ago. I have some cracks in me. They have been filled with gold. That's what they used back then when they had a bowl to mend. It did not hide the cracks, it made them shine instead. So now every old scar shows from every time I broke, and anyone's eyes can see I'm not what I used to be, but in a collector's mind, all of these jagged lines make me more beautiful and worth a much higher price. I'm like one of those Japanese bowls. I was made long ago. I have some cracks, you can see how they shine of gold.
that. We have gotten away from doing this, but I want to introduce myself with a couple of acknowledgments. I am Rod Thompson. I have the privilege of serving this congregation as your half-time contract minister. I identify myself with the pronouns he and him, and I acknowledge that our church buildings rest on the ancestral lands of the Piro Manso Tiwa people, and that with permission we display the Zia symbol of the Zia Pueblo. For those streaming on YouTube, I am wearing a brown t-shirt in support of the Mescalero Apache tribe as they recover from the recent wildfires. I should probably also say, as Kelly did, as far as I know, I have no Native American blood in me. According to my DNA, I am almost exclusively British, English, Welsh, Irish, and Scottish, a little German, and some far-off Eastern Islanders. The British did get around. Of course, very few of us are genetically pure anyway. So why did I volunteer to lead a service celebrating Native American Heritage Month? Well, yes, as a kid I wanted to be a cowboy. But even more, I wanted to be an Indian. I grew up in the 40s and 50s when it seemed that it was more okay to portray Indians in a better light than African Americans. On the radio and early TV, I could watch the adventures of Straight Arrow and Tonto. Well, and his sidekick too. Do you remember growing up with shredded wheat? The box with that handful of, I guess it was shredded wheat, that you had to scrunch up to put in the bowl with milk so that you could eat it. My father liked it. I wouldn't touch it. Shredded wheat came in that box with the layers of the bunches of the shredded wheat. But in between the rows, there was a little cardboard, thin cardboard, so that each layer I had an opportunity to see Straight Arrow's lessons for making things like bows and arrows or how to track wild animals. All kinds of things that a boy my age wanted to know about. And the other reason I wanted to be an Indian was because at age 11 I could become a Boy Scout. If you ignore the military aspect of the Boy Scouts, almost all of the oath, laws, activities, skills, and ceremonies were modeled on those of Native American peoples. Now I live in New Mexico with 19 pueblos and 3 tribal lands. It is not only a land of enchantment, it is also a holy land. And I live in Las Cruces. By the way, I did my due diligence and went to my Spanish-English dictionary, and crucis has nothing to do with crosses. It's crossings. It's where all the roads all over this area, this Mesilla Valley. Thus, we are in Las Cruces. Anyway, the ancient ancestral lands of the Piro, Manso, and Tiwa people that trace their ancestry back to the pueblos of Paso del Norte and back to the first people of the Mesilla Valley. My research tells me that those first peoples go as far back as 25,000 BC. Some say that these ancestors had migrated through the Bering Strait. There's some question about that these days, but they finally made it into New Mexico 9,500 years ago. Mostly because I regret my European ancestors for what they did to the indigenous peoples here and all over the land. I have tried to learn about the history, culture, resilience, and achievements of these peoples. If you haven't done so, I recommend it. One thing I have learned that we usually refer to these people as Native Americans or American Indians. However, whenever possible, Native Americans, I'm told, prefer to be called by their specific tribal name. If that is true of Navajos, I have to admit that I learned it from Tony Hillerman's books. Since I have so little experience with Native Americans other than what I've read, I am going to share some stories, prayers, and experiences from those who have a lot more experience than I. I'm going to start with an admonition for us by Marjorie Bowens-Wheatley, one of our best-known preachers. She reminds us of what we do, or what to do first. Our first task in approaching another people, another culture, is to take off our shoes. For the place we are approaching is holy. Else we find ourselves trending on others' dreams. More serious still, we may forget that God was here before we arrived. I don't know if this advice from Laura Bogle is addressed to Native Americans or to one of us. It's entitled, "This is Our Home, but Not Just Ours." It got my attention. We gather here to remember this is our home, but not just ours. This land we live on, the water we drink, this air we breathe, these old mountains that hold us steady on the ground, these deserts that give us our warmth, these flowers that give us their beauty and fragrance, these fields that give us our daily bread, and these stars that show us our place. The wilderness and the tame backyards, all of it is our home. We remember the ancestors who have lived on this land and who have shaped it. We inherit their choices We honor the animals and creatures that have made this their home. The ones who are here now and the ones that used to be here. We envision the future generations who will live on this land, and let their voices fill our hearts. We gather here to remember this is our home, but not just ours. I would share a prayer from Mike Adams. Mike resides up in Los Alamos, where he grew up, but he is a Lil'wat Indian from British Columbia, Canada. Mike is a second-generation Unitarian Universalist and a member of our church in Los Alamos. I don't know if he is addressing his ancestors or his descendants with this prayer. Either way, it at least speaks to me. For the generations who survived being hunted, who endured the theft and destruction of our people's land, and who persevered through the theft and indoctrination of our children, we are grateful that you survived and for the resilience you have passed on to us. Because you did these things, we are still here. For the activists who stood against corruption and who forced a spotlight on our people's mistreatment, we are grateful for your commitment. Because of it, we are still here. For the people who never consented to the sacrifices that they were forced upon, that were forced upon us, we remember you. We mourn your suffering and loss. We honor you as best we can. We do this because we are still here. For the future generations, we ask that you remember. We look to you to keep our people's future alive after we're gone. We ask you to find strength in your ancestors and use the resilience of your people to create your future and that of your children. We ask you to ensure that when we are gone, through you, we are still here. This next piece, it puts a lot of this into perspective for me. It's called The Other Side of the Pond, and it's part of a sermon by the Reverend Jan Carlson Bull. She writes, "How clearly I remember it. We, my husband Dan and my daughter Sarah, had spent the night in Taos, New Mexico. The next morning we set out for the Pueblo, the ancient village inhabited by indigenous people known as the Pueblo. Clearly tourists, easily identified as as European Americans. We were welcomed. Dan, Sarah, and I were acquainted with, but by no means steeped in the history of our ancestors' oppression of the Pueblo and millions of other indigenous peoples. We treaded lightly and slowly as we navigated the twists and turns of the village that was home to families whose lineage is tied to these mountains in what is now northern New Mexico and goes back centuries. centuries before, this prospect of gold was a gleam in the eye of the far-off explorers to the east. Toward what we thought was the conclusion of our visit, we entered the gift shop. Behind the counter were a young man and young woman, both seemingly in their 20s. We exchanged pleasantries. We discussed the beauty of the wares for sale, and then moved our conversation literally and around the corner into the gist of the American Indian movement known as AIM, and the continued oppression of Pueblo and other indigenous nations at the hands of power structures with a history. Then, I can't remember who, the young man or the young woman, spoke of a nearby lake, a sacred site, not recorded on any maps. Nestled into the lap of topography, not far from the Pueblo village, lies Blue Lake. Oral tradition holds that the people of the Taos Pueblo were created from this sacred waters. It's holy ground. Why is it not on the maps? We asked naively. It's the only way to protect it. The backstory. In the early 20th century, the U.S. government appropriated Blue Lake and the surrounding area, seeing it as a promising site for natural resources and tourism. It took a 64-year legal battle before the Pueblo won the lake and its area, and it was returned to them in 1970. It was litigated not as a property rights case, but as an issue of religious freedom. One of the winning arguments was stated by a Pueblo elder this way: "We are probably the only citizens of the United States who are required to practice our religion under a permit from the government. This is not religious freedom. It is guaranteed by the Constitution." They finally won. So what can we, as Unitarian Universalists, do during this Native American Heritage Month? One way would be to always, at the beginning of our services, maybe in the service associates welcome, acknowledge that we are on the ancestral lands of the Piro Manso Tiwa people. Another way would be to search out Native American cultural events this month. Another, maybe an easy way, would be to read and then share Native American literature. Or go out and visit one of those 19 pueblos in 3 tribal lands. Too many pieces of paper. As a community of faith, may we be a safe harbor in a world that is often harsh toward differences. May we be challenged to use our presence as a healing force for justice and equity, knowing that although We have come far in the struggles. There are many people who are still behind, and the work of building the beloved community is just as pressing today as ever before. May we make it so. Your turn.
As I mentioned when we were doing Joys and Sorrows, the operation and outreach of your church needs your input and your contributions. This is a perfect time to think about what you can give back. And in a moment, the greeters will pass among you with the offering baskets. But before we do, I want to remind you that we support organizations that are identified by our Social Justice Committee with what we call our Change for Change program. That means you can put your change in the offering basket or write a check marked Change for Change on the memo line, and that will go to the charity that we designated for the last quarter of this year. And this year, it's our last quarter designee is Coats for Kids. And this means that the money will be used to buy clothing for people, for young people and families who can't afford it. So give your change or write a check for Change on the note line, and please give generously.
Someday
My closing words are a song from the Dakota Sioux, and no, I will not try to sing it. That's Yolanda's thing. This song communicates the desire of Indian individuals to feel one with other members of their community, which is something we strive for too. Add my breath to your breath, that our days may be long on the earth, that the days of our people may be long, that we may be one person, that we may finish our roads together. May our Mother bless you with life. May our life paths be fulfilled. So may it always be. Blessed be, and amen. I guess you could stand up again as we sing together our final hymn, For the Beauty of the Earth.
Please join me in saying the words to extinguish the flame. The words are on the screen. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Let's go to the back.
You bet.
Thank you, Reverend, for that history lesson. And the one thing that Spirit has taught me is we can't change our past, but we can do better as we walk forward on our Mother. And before the song, I chose the song that I was going to do. I have so much music, and I kept, well, I want to do this one. No. Okay, I want to do that one. No. And I was gone 8 years from Las Cruces, and I couldn't wait to go for walks in my desert. The first day was wonderful. Then the second day I went out, a song came. And I titled it We're Creators, because we know we create this dream that we are in. We create and manifest things that come to us. So I gift you now, we're creators. It's the morning, early morning, and we greet another day. Life is waiting, anticipating, what will we create today? We're creators of this journey as we walk our path each day. Make it joyous, being grateful that you woke again today. Earth Mother's waiting for us to love her and see the gifts she gives us every day. We are creators and being grateful. We need to change and we need to make. It's the morning, early morning, and we greet another day. Life is waiting, anticipating, what will we create today? We're creators of this journey as we walk our path each day. Make it joyous, being grateful that you woke again today. Great Spirit loves you, Earth Mother needs you to understand who you really are. We are creators, we are the power, we will awaken and know our strength. It's the morning, early morning, and we greet another day. Life is waiting, anticipating, what will we create today? We're creators of this journey as we walk our path each day. Make it joyous, being grateful that you woke again today. Thank you. Thank you. And I want to end with this chant that a wonderful friend of mine that's a healer and spiritual leader, and it's called Yahweh. And it means hello and welcome, and it can also mean goodbye and thank you. So I'm saying goodbye and thank you for this gift of me being here to share with you. And it goes like this. Yahweh, 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 one more. Yahweh, 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 Yahweh. Oh.